Welcome to Inspirational Transformational TV Show. Amy Whitney here today with my very special guest, Judy Tucker. Judy's a spiritual intuitive, and when you listen to this interview, you will have no doubt that that is the case, because the information that flows through Judy is amazing. A number of topics that we cover in this interview, I don't know if I've had another guest touch on so many different aspects. She has a wealth of knowledge. She has this warmth about her, and she shares a few personal stories that will amaze you. It's such a beautiful interview, and her message of hope and health and happiness being possible for each and every one of us is really beautiful. Enjoy the show. Thank you for joining Inspirational Transformational TV Show.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Now, to start with, I suppose we'll start with an overall title. Although you have so many things you do, and we'll break it down, you call yourself a spiritual intuitive. Now, what is that exactly?
Well, a spiritual intuitive, in my opinion, would be somebody that is very much grounded in the now, but also has access to communicating with the universal energies, and I like to communicate with people's higher selves when they come to see me to find out what's most appropriate and in their highest good that I can do for them within the scope of my practice.
Beautiful. Now, can you take us on a bit of a journey? Because that's not something when you were 17, you didn't look in the university curriculum and decide to study that. So you've got to have a story there, right?
I do.
All right.
I think everybody in this type of field has got a story. And as mine starts pretty much the same way that many people do. You know, you have some of your own health issues, and you start looking for answers, and you do your own research because maybe, you know, you just don't feel that the information you're getting from the medical is full and complete, shall we say. And so, you know, you do your research, you look into things, and you go, well, there's all kinds of other little options out there. I might just try this before I do what's being suggested here. And there starts the journey. Mm-hmm. You know, you're always doing a little bit more research, and you've got a particular health issue, you look into it, and you go, I think this would be a good idea for that, rather than this route, and so on and so on. So that's sort of how I began a long time ago. And then, of course, when you have children and they enter into the picture, of course, you want your children to be as healthy as possible. And when a health issue arises for a child, which one did for one of my children when he was 4, he was diagnosed with bronchial asthma, and he was put on a nebulizer machine, which was just horrific, and 2 different inhalers. And I was told by the doctor that he would probably have to be on, at the very least, 1 or 2 inhalers for the rest of his life. He's 4. I'm thinking, whoa. It just went, you know, this doesn't compute. There has to be a better way. So again, it gave me another, another road to go down to explore the bronchial asthma and look into the different causes of it and what I could possibly do as a mother to help him. So it was a great experience for me because honestly, within a very short period of time, I had him off that nebulizer machine like instantly, and really off the inhalers within a really short period of time. Totally changed his diet. We eliminated the different grains, or most of them. We eliminated dairy. There were different herbs that I incorporated in, things that would be expectorants to get rid of, you know, excess mucus and phlegm and things like that in the body. What else did we do? Eliminated sugar, the white flours, okay? Mm-hmm. So by doing this, I mean, children really respond very quickly to everything. Yes. And his body totally responded. I mean, honestly, he's never really looked back. He's been fine.
That's amazing. And is it a set formula for parents out there with children with asthma? Is it diet and herbal medicine that they should be looking at?
It's a little bit of everything, but first and foremost, you have to look at what's going into the body, okay, and start eliminating things like anything that's mucus forming, all your dairy and your white flour products and everything. I think at that time I put him on like spelt bread. He had that, which is a really great bread. And then there's wonderful sprouted breads that I didn't know about at the time, but now do. Yes. And so that would be a great alternative. Had him, eat different fruits and vegetables and a little bit of meat, but get rid of the sugars, get rid of the white flours, get rid of the dairy. And what happens is, when somebody's diagnosed with the bronchial asthma, in many cases you have to look at the colon, okay? And so you have to get the colon moving really, really well, which apparently his wasn't. And that was another part of the problem. Okay. So once that moves, and then you start putting the good things in, and then the herbs that will help the body get rid of the excess mucus and everything, there you go. And drink lots of water, lots of water. Beautiful. So, and you know what? It's a good lifestyle for him, because even to this day, he drinks lots and lots of water every single day, and he's really never had a problem since. So that's good.
So when you hear, ADD on the rise, asthma on the rise, autism on the rise, and people on the street say, the people I speak to, they're all asking why. A lot of people don't like that question, but do you have an answer for that?
I do, actually, and it's probably a multifaceted answer. I was just asked that same question yesterday, and the answer to that would have to be, a lot of us are a lot more sensitive now than we used to be to things in the environment, okay? But what I see, because I see a lot of children, and I do allergy elimination and everything for children and microorganism elimination, and I counsel parents on, what foods, like what they should eat, what absolutely needs to be eliminated, and so on. But what I find too is, and I will be very honest with this, the vaccinations that the children get can be the root cause of a lot of these issues, because they really compromise the immune system. They are grown in mold. Then anything at all that enters the body that is related to mold. So if you think about your nuts and all your nut allergies, huge mold issue there. If you think about the cheeses and all the pizzas and all these wonderful things that the kids like to eat that are actually causing a lot of the problems, and they don't really think about that, because it tastes good and everything and they want it. But cheese, mold, okay, so you're still looking at that. Even all of your environmental issues out there with the flower pollens and the tree pollens and so on. A lot of that tends to be mold too, because it happens in the spring when the sun is on the ground and the ground is wet, and all of this wetness is coming out, and you get all the molds that are being released, and then people start having all the symptoms, and there you go. But it all can go back to still the vaccination. Because if the vaccination wasn't there, and there are so many, there's such a beautiful, beautiful way to vaccinate children with homeopathic remedies, that you can go to a naturopath and they will make you up what's called homeopathic prophylaxis kits. There are some for babies, there are some for older children, and they contain every single thing that child needs that would be the equivalent of an actual vaccine, and there it is, and it's all natural.
Is this, what you're telling us about the vaccination, is this through intuition, or is this through your scientific study?
It's a bit of both. Mostly, it's the scientific part. I mean, it's really it's proven that the vaccines they do a lot more harm than good. And I have worked in a naturopathic clinic, and I certainly saw a lot of patients. A lot of them were children, and I have seen children that were absolutely normal, and then they go and they have a vaccination, and they're not normal anymore. And it is the most heart-wrenching thing that you're going to see, other than the children that I dealt with that were cancer patients. you know, and it just rips your heart out, because children should never be sick. You know, they should be happy, they should be healthy, we should do all we can. And, you know, as parents, we always try to do the best we can for our children, and mothers always put their children first. You know, it's just a natural thing.
But maybe the education that they have, you know, I have had myself so much pressure to vaccinate by educated people. And so maybe there's a shift that's required.
There are books out there. The best I can say is educate yourself. Go on the internet, look at everything. I mean, years ago there were books out on the vaccinations and everything. Go on, like Dr. Mercola, Mercola.com.
Yes.
He's got a great website, and he is certainly not, you know, pro-vaccinations. So
now you mentioned the word sensitive, and you're talking about environment, about food. You've also mentioned that you're a clairsentient. Now, the sensitivity that you speak about with the children coming in with their environmental allergies, etc., are they also developing sensitivity on that clairsentient level as well?
I wouldn't necessarily say so. Although children tend to have all kinds of wonderful intuitive abilities, and then society sort of shuts that down.
Right.
You know, it's too bad, because we're all born, you know, with all of these gifts, and then, you know, life sort of gets in the way, and society shuts it down. Parents don't understand. You know, I can't wait to have grandchildren at some point when the time is right, because you know what? I know that they're going to be born very, very intuitive, and I will be there to help them along.
Beautiful.
I look forward to that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to some of the other modalities you do, because you are just so amazing with the amount of work that you do. And there's one that's highlighted that I actually don't really even know what it is. So microorganism elimination.
Okay, that is a therapy that I do use my psychic abilities for. Okay, what I do is I bring the client into my heart center, my divinity core. I communicate from that point only with their higher self. I say prayers, I bring in their spiritual guides and so on, and what I want is to know what I can remove from that person that could possibly be causing them a problem or could cause them a problem in the future, okay? So the microorganisms can be all kinds of different things. It can be a toxin, it can be a chemical, it can be an enzyme, it can be a parasite, it can be a virus, a bacteria, and my very favorite, a miasm. And a miasm means something that is inherited, okay? So, for example, if you came to me and you said that, you know, heart disease, for example, is rampant in your family, and you really want to make sure, like, is there anything I can do to help you with this? Then that would be the therapy that I would do for you, okay? Because there may be a lot of miasms there that they can be removed. You don't have to go through life thinking, oh my God, I'm probably going to end up, you know, the same way as all my relatives, okay? The work that I do goes back at least 38 generations, and it pulls these inherited issues out. It's phenomenal work. I have had it, what would be the right word? Approved, shall we say, by different psychics, mediums, and channelers. I actually had a lady here yesterday that went, oh my goodness, look what you are doing. This is phenomenal work. So, to be able to remove all of these for people on such a very high level is an amazing thing, and the people do go away. They go away lighter. There's so much that is lifted from them, and each time they come, it's compounding. It just gets better, better, better. I had one fellow come to me, and he had a problem with hearing, and he wasn't born that way. He was born fine. So this is something that had happened since then, but he couldn't just put his finger on it, and he was, let's see, in his 50s, and things were sort of getting worse, okay? And so this was his major concern, because what I like people to communicate with their own higher self, just quietly within their mind, tell their higher self what they're looking for, and then I will find it. I will find remedies for that, if it's appropriate and highest good at that time for that remedy for that person. Okay? They're going to get what's appropriate and the highest good for them. I have no control over it. And the best part is I have to get myself totally out of the way to do the work. This is not about me. Yes. This is only about the client. Okay? And anyway, the first time and the second time he came to me, we just got some, lots of general cleanup things, okay? And the third time he came, we hit all kinds of remedies that would basically allow his hearing to get better. And it is better. Now, it's not 100%, okay? But it's definitely a lot better than it was when he originally came. And then each time we work on him, it just gets a little bit better and a little bit better. So.
And you said he came for hearing.
Yeah.
As the main thing, but as you gave him remedies, did he notice shifts in other areas of his life?
He did, because the remedies, there are remedies that are spiritual. There are remedies that are called born-up virus remedies, and these are emotional remedies that have a virus attached to them. So, for example, for people that, let's just pick one in general, there's a remedy called worry less, and that is an emotional remedy with a virus attached. And for people that worry, I would have to say, excessively. Yes. They can't help it. They've always been that way. They don't want to be that way, and they have no control over it. They need to know that they really don't. But when they get this remedy, the virus goes, and they are in control of how much they choose to worry at that point. Okay?
Amazing.
So I love those remedies. And then there are regular emotional remedies, like for people with fear and doubt and anger and so on. There are regular emotional remedies. And the best part of it also is that people don't have to take these remedies. Don't think that there's a bottle that you have to take. I offer the higher self all these remedies for automatic infusion in whatever vibration, potency, and frequency is appropriate and in the person's highest good at that time. Now, another time if they come to me, they may get some of those same remedies again. It's always at a different frequency then, because their body is ready to handle it.
I love it. And this is how you do your distance healing?
A lot of it. I also do Reiki distance healing, but this is distance also. All I need is a person's picture, because whether you come to me in person or whether I have a picture of you, that picture has an energy field. And what I do is I connect with the energy field of the person, either through the picture or in person, and I do what I call an energy field analysis. And I'm basically asking the higher self, what do you need? What does this person need? What do they need? I've got a book that's full of remedies. I use a pendulum, I douse to see. Show me what page it's on. Tell me which remedy it is. Go down the page. I make a list of all remedies. I generally end up with a list this long. And they can be all different kinds. There can be a spiritual remedy or two in theirs. There could be, in the beginning, for a lot of people, there's quite a few of those born-a-virus ones, which are quite amazing.
Yes.
And then, the rest of the book that I check are all, either miasms, viruses, bacteria, parasites, chemicals, toxins, emotional remedies without the viruses, and so on. I mean, I love the work. It's very rewarding for me. Everybody feels a difference, and I've got a lot of people that I work on at a distance. They know when I'm doing the work on them. They absolutely know. The best story I have is a client of mine in Hamilton. This goes back a few years now, and here's the best part. I don't want to know the person's health history. I don't want to take a history. I don't want to know what problems they have before I do this work, because I would have to forget that I know that, because I don't want to be thinking, oh, this person is diabetic. There's probably going to be remedies for this. I can't think that way.
Yes.
It's not about me, And it's not about what I think they need. It's about what their higher self tells me they need.
Yes.
So this girl, I had no clue what her health history was. Nothing. I had met her once in person because her friend had drug her to me here and said, here, you need to see Judy. And she came, and we did a session in person. Again, didn't know any history, still don't. And she felt better. And so when I contacted her to see if she wanted any more work done, she said, absolutely, she did. So anyway, I said, send me a picture of yourself. I get pictures mailed, I get them emailed, I get them brought in person. I got all kinds of files with pictures in them. And anyway, I did a session for her, and all of these remedies came up, and it was like, wow. I had no idea that her health was as compromised as it really is. And she had never mentioned it. I didn't know. I knew she wasn't working, but I didn't know why.
Right.
Anyway, long story short, I do it all. I infuse all the remedies. There you go. We're finished. And I get a call from her the next morning. First thing, she goes, what time did you work on me yesterday? Because I email people all their results when they're not here. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, it was between about 12:15, 12:30 when I actually infused everything. She says, oh my God. She says, you're not going to believe this. At that time, I was sitting in my endocrinologist's office, and he was about to write out another prescription for me. And she said, something moved me. I stood up out of the chair. I walked over to his desk and I said, I won't be needing another prescription. It really hasn't done me any good. I don't feel any different. I've been coming to you for a long time, and I need to try something else. And she says, I turned and I walked out of the office. And she goes, I knew I did the right thing, but I had no idea why. And I instantly felt better. And she said, honestly, she said, did you know that I had problems with my endocrine system? I said, if you didn't tell me, how could I know? And nobody told me. She said, I cannot tell you how much better I feel. She said, that's why I haven't been working. I've been telling the doctors, I've got a problem with my endocrine system. I need help. They send me to an endocrinologist. I get a prescription, and it just hasn't been doing it. And she says, wow, I feel better. Anyway, long story short, she ends up getting a fantastic job. She's feeling better. Her whole body, everything changed. Her energy field changed, everything changed, and she's doing really, really well.
Beautiful.
She's got a boyfriend. I mean, just everything positive happened to her. But it's all about whatever we attract to us can only come from the vibrations that we send out. That's what we're about. We are energy. We are vibrations. I know a lot of people that do positive information or positive affirmations, and and they'll go, oh, these really don't work. Mm-hmm. But guess what? They do work, because the problem is not with what you're saying. Mm. You can put whatever you want out there positively and hope that it comes to you, but if your body is vibrating something different, the universe only listens to what you vibrate. Amazing. Okay? So words are one thing, but it's the vibration of the body that goes out, and that's what you're going to get back in. So it can be contradictory, and that's why some people think that the positive affirmations don't work. But they do work, but you've got to take care of the vibration of the body first, on all levels.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where EFT comes in?
Yes, it absolutely can. Reiki's very good for that too, because a lot of people think Reiki just works on the physical, but it works on all levels phenomenally. EFT is very, very good for that too, because what you're doing is you're removing the energy tied to the negative emotion. Okay? It has to go. And when I work with people with EFT, I did a session for a lady this morning, and I just said to her, what negative emotion do you carry in your body that you feel is the strongest negative emotion? And she said, fear. And I said, okay. Then when do you remember the first time in your life that you felt that same emotion? She goes, oh, I was a child. I said, is there a specific time that you remember feeling this? Yes. I said, okay, then that's where we're going to work. Because what happens is, if we were to work on the fear that she's feeling in the now, because something triggered it, okay, it's only going to work a little bit. It's not going to get to the root of it. And everything I do, the essence of me is getting to the root of people's problems and pulling them out there. Okay? You have to go to the root. So with EFT in particular, if you go back to the first time the person felt the negative emotion, you work on that, and you work on anything related to that. So instead of just working on fear, if she was 4 years old, she wouldn't even know the word fear. But I guarantee you that she would know being afraid, feeling scared, and those are the words that we need to use, what that 4-year-old would use, okay? So you do a session on that. I like to do a negative one because you have to give the negative energy in order for it to be released with the EFT. So we work on a negative, then we do a positive, and then I like to do an every other, beginning with a negative and always ending with a positive. And generally, the SUD level, which is subjective units of distress, will dramatically drop just from one of those. And then you can sort of move on and think, is there a related emotion? So we worked on being scared, feeling scared. Let's work on feeling afraid now, okay? And then we'll do the same kind of thing. And the idea is to bring the person to back to that point in their mind, and can they access those negative emotions anymore? And when they can't, then you pretty much know you've got an awfully good chance of having those emotions removed from that point to now, rather than just working on the now and not getting 100% results. Okay?
Is it something that that people can use to help manifest? That's what I'm hearing a lot of people say. They're using that as a manifestation tool because it clears blockages.
Absolutely. Because really, I mean, how can you manifest something positive if you have negativity there? It's the same thing with, the vibration. If there's negative emotions that you're hanging on to, they have to go. They have to be replaced with the positive. So the opposite of fear is safety. So this person needs to feel safe in all areas of their life. And once they do, that the fear is gone. And so then if something happens the next day where, there's some type of a fearful experience, it's going to be just like this tiny little mogul, this little bump in the road, and then they can just work on that and everything will be fine.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What are some of the common themes that you're seeing in society today with regards to, I guess, people who come through your clinic? Do you have something that's on the rise, or?
Diabetes is definitely on the rise, number one. Number one. Obesity and diabetes, and they go hand in hand.
Right. And
people really, really, really need to be taught about pre-diabetic issues. What can we help them with as far as telling them about what foods they should and shouldn't eat, what proportions they should have, okay? What breaks down in the body to a sugar, okay? They need to know these things. And the best advice for anybody, for everybody, is to eat as though you were a diabetic already. It's the best advice.
Clever. 3
meals a day and 2 healthy snacks, minimum. Minimum. So that it keeps the blood sugar level rather than this. We have to know what healthy snacks are. And when I do my nutritional counseling, I always counsel people on eating right for their blood type. I am a big, firm believer in that, okay? So you need to know in every single category what's good for you according to your blood type and what isn't. What meats, what seafood, eggs and dairy, all of your grains, your oils and your fats, your nuts and seeds, your fruits, your vegetables, even miscellaneous beverages, and what supplements are even best for you as according to your blood type. I counsel people on all of that, and then we get into the, this is your portion. It's not a big portion, but half of the plate should be vegetables. Quarter of the plate should be a carbohydrate, but only 15 grams. And then a quarter of the plate should be a protein. And I don't necessarily mean meat, because there are blood types that shouldn't eat meat.
Right.
Okay? And so there you go. And that would be 3 meals. And then you've got healthy snacks. Might be a piece of fruit and maybe some nuts or seeds or something like that. There's great healthy snacks. Yeah, and then just not to eat anything that's processed. You know what they say with the supermarkets: shop the outside, don't go to the inside. There's a lot of truth to that.
It's good advice.
There is a lot of truth.
Have you read any of? I think her name's Hilda Clark.
Hulda
Clark.
Yes.
And with the, sorry to jump back to this, but I was thinking about it when we were speaking about it, and I forgot to ask it. The microorganism removal, is that something along those lines? Like, do they cause cancer? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask.
They can. It's been a long time. I have her book. It's been an awful long time since I even thought of that. But again, she was... I'm quite sure she was the one that formulated what was called the zapper.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so if you think about it this way, it's all about, again, vibration and frequency. So for example, her thought was, if there was a particular type of parasite in the body, then they needed to be on this zapper machine, and it had to be set at this particular frequency, because every single thing has a frequency and a vibration.
Right.
So if you set the machine at this, and this is the problem, it has to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the same type of thing that I'm doing with the microorganism elimination.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
But I'm asking the person's higher self to infuse into this person automatically the remedies that they're saying the person needs, plus whatever vibration, potency, and frequency is appropriate and in their highest good.
Beautiful.
So it's the same kind of thing, but I'm doing it like mentally.
I love it.
Rather than involving machines.
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of a lot of technology. The one thing that I did invest in, and it is a very good investment, and I'm very glad I did it, is the magnetic resonance stimulation. So in my treatment room, I have a mat that's on my treatment table, and it is MRS, magnetic resonance stimulation. So everybody that comes here, no matter what they come for, get to lay on the mat. Because it oxygenates all the cells in the body.
Nice.
Everybody can use more oxygen in their cells.
Yes.
Okay? Well, what happens when the cells are oxygenated, nutrients can better get into the cell and waste can get out. Mm-hmm. So we all need that. Yes. So it does no harm. It doesn't hurt anybody. It's a beautiful thing. Everything, first time, every single morning I lay on the mat myself. Beautiful. And I try to do it at least another time or two during the day. Sometimes I don't make it. But I also have not just the mat, there's a pad. So for instance, if somebody has knee issues, then we'll lay the pad on the knees, and it can be set to a higher vibration. So I basically am certified as a health technician with this company, and just phenomenal state-of-the-art products they have. There's a probe also, and again, I had one client totally avoid root canal by using the probe. So she lays on the mat first, so you do whole body, and then you can be specific. So she would use the probe in the area of where the root canal was needed. You're oxygenating the cells at a very high frequency. There you go.
Beautiful.
And you can do that with anything, anywhere in the body. It's an amazing technology. I offer free demos for anybody anytime. They can come and try this out. Along with it, I have what's called the sound and light relaxation system. Okay. It's goggles that you have on and earphones that you have on while you're on the mat. So you're on the mat, your cells are being oxygenated, and then these two things, the benefits are phenomenal. because what it's doing is it's all about the mind-body connection.
Yes.
You feel very relaxed when you finish with this, and this would be like a 16-minute treatment. It is beautiful for people that are bipolar,
Okay.
attention deficit disorder. The mat itself, the whole system, changes poles from North Pole to South Pole and back again automatically every 2 minutes. So for people, I have a lot of bipolars and ADDs and ADHDs, and they love that technology right there, because the results of it last for 4 to 6 hours after you're off the mat.
Nice.
So for people that really just don't even know what a normal, regular 4 to 6 hours feel like,
Yes.
because they're up, down, or whatever, you know what? It gives them a great example of what life can really be like.
Yes.
And that can be turned around. The bipolar, I mean, I show people all the time what they can do. Every bipolar knows what it feels like when they're going to flip or switch, whatever word they choose to use. And they know what it feels like, and I will show them something that they can do very, very quickly for themselves to avoid that, and they flip right back, and they're fine.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Electromagnetic radiation, is that, am I using the right term? Is that becoming something that's an issue, like with the computer, cell phone towers?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right.
Yes. The negative
Is that okay?
electromagnetic frequencies, yes. And actually, that's why this mat
That's what
and
I
the
thought.
MRS technology is so important, because of everything. You know, we have the computers more and more. We have the microwaves. I mean, it just, we're bombarded. You turn a light on, your homes are wired.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we're surrounded by all these negative electromagnetic frequencies, and we really need to be doing things on a regular basis to at the very least, counteract that.
Yes.
And then to turn it around so that it's something positive. Yeah, because honestly, you can't live here the way we do and avoid it.
Yes.
How do you avoid it? Okay?
Mm.
And there's so many people that aren't terribly grounded.
Mm.
Maybe they live in an apartment on the 5th floor,
Mm.
and they might work on a higher level. They need to be grounded. And this technology grounds people like that.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I think we'll be hearing more and more about it.
Oh, it's fairly new, and actually I've had it in my practice for about 3 or 4 years now.
Wow.
Yes, and it's from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they're always a little bit ahead of us with technology.
Yes.
And I just attended a couple weeks ago a workshop, and it's already being improved upon.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So
I think it's required. I think it's a necessity, is what I want to say.
I agree that it is. In this day and time, it is. You know, in the olden days when homes didn't have electricity, everybody was farming, you're working the land.
Yeah. Feet on the soil.
You're wonderful. Feet's right on the ground. There you go. And we don't get near enough of that. None of us do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious whether you feel the earth shifting. We're actually speaking on the day of the tsunami in Japan.
Yes.
Do you get a sense that things are getting a bit topsy-turvy out there, for lack of a better word?
Absolutely. And in a lot of cases, they actually need to. Mother Earth is making a lot of changes, and she's doing it really dramatically. She's getting everybody's attention. The frequencies, the energies are changing. There is all kinds of things going on out there now, and this is a very, very powerful day. I started to feel it yesterday. Yesterday was a huge energy day for me, and today is pretty much right up there too. Not that I have bad energy days, it just doesn't happen with me because I can sort of know how to fix that. But for me, as far as feeling the energies, because that's what I'm all about, it's very high energy today. Very high energy today. So yes, there's a lot of shifts, there's a lot of changes, there's so much happening.
But you see that as a positive, like it's a
I
healing.
absolutely see it as a positive.
It's a healing.
I know you can look at the trauma on the news this morning with Japan and everything and go, oh my God, that's terrible. And it is terrible. But for some reason, it has to happen.
Yes.
And, you know, for me, the glass is always half full. I mean,
so it's not the end of the world?
Absolutely not.
I love the face.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Beautiful.
No. It might be the end of the world as we knew it. Mm-hmm. It's improving.
Nice.
How's that?
I like it. I'll take it.
I'll take it too.
Now, you said something a few times that I'm curious about. You said that when you're working with someone, you do a healing that's for the best thing for their higher self.
Yes.
This might sound strange, but is sometimes death the best thing for someone's higher self?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. That's not strange at all.
All right.
You know, I think the higher self of a person knows when it's time. And sometimes, you know what, it's just time. It's time to pass over. You know, there's more learning that can be done there. Maybe people have learned what they came here to learn in this lifetime. And, you know, they've sort of chosen what they needed to learn. They've learned it, and maybe it's time to move on. You know, I don't see death as a bad thing. I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a transition.
Yes.
Never negative. Always positive.
Nice.
Yes.
You do work with cancer support? Is it?
Oh, yes. I've got a lot of cancer patients.
Yeah.
And again, it's working with them on all levels. Now, I have lost one, and that wasn't because of the cancer. It was because he was in his 80s, and it was time.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. He was tired. He had fought this cancer, colorectal cancer, nasty cancer, and he survived the surgery and, you know, whatever else he chose to have after that. But I was helping him support his body with the different homeopathic remedies that I deal with that help chelate the toxins and get them out of the body so that the good cells, the healthy cells, don't take up the unhealthy ones, you know, after a radiation. That the homeopathics will also help if people are going through chemotherapy. Okay, I've had a lot of cancer patients choose chemotherapy. It's not my job to tell people what they should and shouldn't do. It's my job to inform and educate. Because they may not know about this, and this, and there you go. And at the very least, they can take the homeopathic remedies and the negative results, like the nausea and the drain on the energy and everything from having the chemo and the radiation and everything, it can be at least cut in half by taking these. And then there's other things that I counsel them on. You know, got to drink your water. You've got to get the toxins gone. The elimination system has to be working very well. What you put in fresh and raw if you can, organic if you can, everything that has energy in it. If you eat dead foods, how do you think you're going to feel?
You are what you eat.
You are what you absorb, that's for sure. That's for sure. So the homeopathic remedies are wonderful, and I always counsel people on, you know, taking the right, you know, the right supplements. Make sure they get their good omegas into them, whether it's a fish oil or a flax oil. Take their probiotic, you know, have their fiber, especially the soluble fiber. It's so important, and we don't get it in our food. So it's the fiber that when it goes in, it will absorb toxins. It will absorb excess hormones. It's huge, and it's just so easy to incorporate into your diet.
How do you, so you say we don't get it in our diet. Is there dietary sources?
The source of the one that I like is the organic acacia fiber. Okay, and it's a clear fiber, and it can mix into a glass of water. You can't see it. There's hardly any taste. I won't say there's none, but there's hardly any. And the other thing that you can do if you don't want to have it that way, you can mix it into anything. It doesn't thicken anything. So I set it, it's a powder, and I set it on my counter in the kitchen whenever I'm making anything that has a liquid base to it, like any kind of a soup or even a stew, or I've even put it in gravy, which Anyway, don't tell my boys. So that they're getting it. Everybody needs a little more soluble fiber. I mean, the insoluble fiber is your fruits, your vegetables, and everything like that you're getting, and it'll go through the system, and it's your bulk. It's wonderful. But let's absorb the toxins and the excess hormones and get them out too. So,
beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, you were mentioning off camera that you are now, is it called Reiki instructor?
I'm a Reiki master teacher / practitioner. How's that?
Beautiful. Would you feel comfortable sharing the story about how you came to knowing you needed to take on the teacher role?
Oh my. Yes, I can do that. I had been doing Reiki for years, okay, and having wonderful results with people. And what happened was, right now, this is March, but in November, one of my boys had a very severe vehicle accident, and he was nearly decapitated. His head was held on his body by one ligament only. That's it. All the muscles were ripped, torn. It was a mess. Luckily, and really luckily, there was no damage to the brainstem. And from the moment the police came to the door and told me that there had been a severe accident and I had to get to emerge right away, I started doing some distant Reiki on him, because I knew from the energy of the police officer when he was at the door and when he came in that he did not expect him to live. I knew that. I picked that up instantly because he said, very severe accident, and he said, you need to get to the hospital immediately. So, I know the power of Reiki. It's healing universal energy that comes through me and goes into people. You can do it in person, you can do it distance, and I've been doing it for a long time. Never did I ever think of teaching it. Never really entered my mind. So, during my son's progression in different hospitals and everything, the comments that I'm hearing from everybody is, I can't believe he's healing so fast. And of course, you know, they'll put it down to, well, he's young, and, you know, he's responding well to this and that and everything else, and this is great. But, you know, I knew there was a little bit more to it. You know, no ego, it's just a mother's thing. You know, you do instantly, you just go, oh my God, there's a crisis, there's a trauma. I have to do something. That's how I think. Because for me, a lot of the stress relief is in taking action.
Yes.
And I had to go into action. And I went into action instantly. And of course, anytime I could, I laid my hands on him to bring the healing energies in. And when I was not with him, I was doing distance work. I would have a friend drive me back and forth to, he was in 3 different hospitals. Trauma ICU to begin with, and then his you know, surgery and everything. And I would have somebody else drive me when I could, so that I, in my mind, could be doing the distance healing. So, anyway, long story short, he is fine. He's coming along great. And it hit me like a lightning bolt one day. It was about mid-January, and it literally hit me. I can still see this huge lightning bolt. And it just came upon me like this, and it was like somebody took me and shook me and went, you have to teach Reiki. And I thought, whoa, where did that come from? And I have nothing that I need to teach Reiki. You know, I really didn't have all that many notes from what I had taken. And I'm thinking, how the heck do I go about this? So I go, if you want me to teach Reiki, give me everything I need. Send it to me. And something came by mail, something came by email, other stuff just sort of got downloaded to me. And so I spent quite a bit of time, and I gave up a few weekends to formulate, you know, the Reiki, the manuals and everything, and to just in my mind get my head around the fact that I can do this. I am qualified to do this. I'm ready to do this, and people need to learn this. Who doesn't want to learn to help themselves heal on all levels? Reiki's not just physical. So I go, I'm all about giving people tools that can help themselves. I don't want somebody hanging onto my pant leg going, oh, you have to help me, you have to help me. Okay? It's about me empowering people to put another tool in their own tool belt. I got a lot in my tool belt, and I use them all, whichever one I feel I need at the time to help anybody, and I really want others to be the same. So if I can help somebody help themselves, how good is that?
Beautiful. What's been your biggest inspiration?
Ooh, let me see. Well, I would have to say my boys, really, and being the best that I can for myself and for them. You know, when you have children, it just makes a huge difference in your life. And, you know, they have issues come up, and they'll like, when they're sick, Ma, I'm sick. What do you got? Can I come over? So, you know, I'll load them up a little goodie bag and go, why didn't you come to me when you started to feel off rather than waiting for it to get a hold? That's my biggest complaint. But anyway, actually, they're coming around. It's okay. But seriously, I would have to say that, and just wanting to be empowered myself to help myself and not have to rely on many others. I mean, I still, I have someone that I go to for shiatsu therapy, and I think the world of him. He's wonderful, and it's exactly what I need when I need it. And so I see him. I have a chiropractor that I see on occasion, and he's wonderful. So there are certain ones, because, you know, I can't do everything for myself, and that's a big lesson too for a healer.
Yes.
There always has to be balance. And if you seem to be doing too much for others all the time, and you're not doing much for you, something always happens that brings it to your attention that you need help too. It always happens. It's all about balance. So, yeah.
And your final words of wisdom today?
Oh my, that's a good one. Final words of wisdom. Well, I think that we all need to live with hope. Okay? Hope is huge. I think we all need to do the best that we can to eliminate all the negativity in our lives. It can go, and if you don't know how to make it go, I can help you. And we have to change the vibrations of the body. We have to be positive people. Life is wonderful, and it is worth living, and we're here to live it, and we need to live in the now. We have to be able to let go of the past. I've got the tools, you know, and I will help anybody that wants the help. And we need to always look forward to the future, you know, and everything is divinely ordered. So, as I always say, it is what it is.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Judy, thank you so much for your time today. It was truly enlightening to meet you. You taught me a number of things that I didn't know. I've been in the healthcare industry for many, many years, and some of the techniques that you use were new to me, and the obvious success of your practice and what you do, and the refreshingly new way that you treat people is really inspiring. And I have to say this, thank you so much for teaching me how to hug heart to heart. That has just been such a beautiful lesson for me, and I'm trying to implement it across the world. So hats off to you for that one, Judy. And thanks again for your time. Much love and many blessings.